What's up, everyone? So I kind of want to elaborate a little bit on what I was talking about the other day about being balanced. I'm not gonna go too in depth into it because I gotta go somewhere in like a few minutes. But what I'm gonna talk about is I've already spoken about how important it is to be balanced, right? But I kind of want to leave you guys with this sort of thing, okay? So let's say, for instance, somebody comes to you and they're like, "Oh, listen, we shouldn't see each other anymore," or this, that, and the third. You'd be devastated if you were so over the moon, if you had that person on a pedestal, if this, that, and the third, right? Whereas if you kind of took it from a balanced, neutral perspective, where it's like, all right, cool, listen, if we're gonna do this together, then we're gonna do this together. If not, I'm gonna be cool too. If you took it from that perspective, it's like the impact, it won't impact you as much. You understand what I'm saying? And then another thing is, you know, in terms of like how people kind of treat you, like if somebody shows you that they don't want to be with you, right? And you've had conversations and you see that there's no change in that person's attitude or whatever it is, then it's come to the point where it's time for you to just clip the cord. You understand what I'm saying? To just move on. It's not rocket science. And for me, how I've developed, you know what I mean? Especially, I would say within the last 5 years or so, maybe 4 or 5 years, right? So in the last maybe 4 or 5 years, how I've kind of dealt with, relationships with people. Like I'll recognize a red flag and I'll address the red flag if it's something that's, red enough, right? If that even makes sense. I'll address the red flag. And if I don't see any changes, it's like, okay, no hard feelings. I see that this is just what I'm dealing with or who I'm dealing with. And I'm okay. I'm perfectly okay with not accepting that and not bringing that into my life, right? If that makes sense. So, I don't know, like anybody that I've ever dealt with in the past, they know that I'm on that type of time, right? Or even if somebody's like, or even if they're like maybe testing me or whatever, like, oh, I don't think we should be seeing each other or whatever it is. Listen, I'm not finna hold you back. You understand what I'm saying? I'm not gonna hold you back. So yeah, it's just one of those things. It's just it just comes with just having a balanced perspective. You know what I mean? And of course, sometimes that becomes harder than especially if you have history with that person or you guys developed something over a period of time. That becomes a little more difficult, right? But once you approach that with approach it with a balanced perspective, like, yeah, all right, cool. Well, I like what I feel when I'm around this person. I like the energy. I like the spiritual tango, so to speak. It's cool, but you have to embody those in yourself as well. Like you have to, Kanye used to always say, he embodies the characteristics of an egotistic, right? You have to embody the characteristics of love, you know what I mean? And embody the characteristics of balance, So yeah, I mean, if you could kind of think about going from, extremely, what'd you say? All right, let's say upset. Let's say you're upset, right? It'll take a lot more for you to go from being upset to being happy, right? Than from being neutral to being happy. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like you always want to come back to sort of being balanced, right? And when I say balanced, just kind of just accepting life for what it is. And sort of just being detached from certain outcomes, you know what I mean? Because our expectation, a lot of times, it holds a lot of weight. It holds a lot of weight, our expectations. So once you kind of approach life from that perspective, where it's like, all right, cool, well, you know what? At one point, these were my expectations. But, as Nipsey said, ain't no guarantees. And you know that. Right? Perfect 10. Shout outs to Nipsey and DJ Mustard. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like you just accept that, all right, cool, there's no guarantees in terms of like what it is on the other side of this, on the flip side of this coin. But one thing I could guarantee is that I am love. I embody the characteristics of love. I love me. You understand what I'm saying? And it goes a long way. Like, with being an extrovert or being an introvert, right? Just be balanced. You understand what I'm saying? I'm comfortable being the life of the party, and I'm also comfortable being by myself, right? And sometimes the reason like people might see me with different women, not all the time, but whenever, you know, my season comes, right, it's cool, right? I might be with a different woman or whatever it is. And it's not to say that this is something where it's like, all right, cool, well, you know, this is the lifestyle that I want to live. But it's that I'm perfectly okay with us being together and getting to know each other with the spiritual tango, as I'm okay with, you know, you not being a part of my life or whatever it is. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't view it as cold, right? I kind of view it as cold when you've gone through, you know, the fire with people, and then people kind of, you know, maybe have like this element of disloyalty to them where it's just about me, right? So you could be playing team, and then the other person is playing them. You understand what I'm saying? Team them, right? Team I. But yeah, you know, still, nonetheless, it's just so much better to just be balanced. You understand what I'm saying? And I don't know. How can I put this now? For me, when because I kind of use the term close to balance a lot, and when I say close to balance, it's because I'm kind of, it's because I kind of shift myself over to sort of like the more high frequency, high vibe, kind of just being happy, being cool. You understand what I'm saying? But it's still an element of okay, cool. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to put that into words because it's not like a nonchalance or anything like that. It's just, life is good. It's just, I'm grateful for being alive. It's just, you know, this is an experience that I've accepted is no longer going to be a part of my future, and I'm okay with that. It's just being okay with how things are. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that solves a lot of life's problems. Just being okay with how things are. And not to say that you're not going to work on your dreams and your goals and your aspirations. Not absolutely, you're going to work on those things. But at the same time, you just accept that things are what they are. And you kind of just see life through the lens of what things are. If that makes sense. As opposed to painting it with, you know, a coating of emotion. You know what I mean? So I'm going to elaborate a little bit more on that. But like I said, I got to go. So I'll chop it up with you guys soon. Peace.